Forkink. I'm the Advancement Vice President at Brigham Young University. I first want to thank all those who are joining us here in person, local and national media members who are joining us virtually through a Zoom link, and to all Cougar Nations joining us on BYU TV. The format of today will be as follows. We will first hear a statement via Zoom from Big 12 Board Chair and Texas Tech University President Lawrence Skuvenik. Then we will hear from Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby, also via Zoom. After Commissioner Bowlesby, we will hear from BYU President Kevin Worthen. Then we will hear from BYU Director of Athletics Tom Holmoe. Following Tom's statement, I will set the table for our question and answer period. We will now turn the mic over to Chair and President Skuvenik.
Good morning. On behalf of my colleagues on the Board of Directors of the Big 12 Conference, I'm delighted to welcome Brigham Young University into the Big 12. The Big 12 presidents and chancellors began this process of adding members with the focus to strengthen the conference. The addition of BYU, with its rich tradition of athletic success and outstanding academic credentials, enhances the prestige and the competitiveness of the league on a national scale, and I say it sets us on a path to even greater success. A bigger, stronger, more national Big 12 is a great thing for college athletics, and certainly Brigham Young University brings a broad national interest to the Big 12. I look forward to working with President Worthen. On behalf of my colleagues on the board, we know that we will benefit from your experience and your leadership. I know that each institution in the Big 12 looks forward to welcoming you to their campus, and I and members of the Red Raider family look forward to seeing you when we visit Provo. Again, welcome to the Big 12.
Thanks, Lawrence. Appreciate your kind comments and appreciate all of your work in getting us to the place that we've arrived with the 4 new members. We're bringing in 4 great universities, 200,000 students, an additional 3 states, 40 million people, 3 of the best recruiting areas in the United States, tremendously broad-based programming with lots of successful athletic programs, led by outstanding coaches and outstanding administrators. In the case of Brigham Young University, your fine athletic director, Tom Holmoe, was the National Athletics Director of the Year very recently. It's a good day for all of us, but it's especially a good day for the Big 12 Conference. Relative to BYU specifically, your iconic programs are a tremendous addition to the conference. National championship, Heisman Trophy winners, excellent broad-based programs in lots of different sports. I know this is the Friday before a big weekend with the game with Utah, much anticipated and highly contested. We look forward to coming to Provo. It's as picturesque a city as there is in the United States. And although I haven't seen a game in LaVell Edwards Stadium, I've been to the stadium, and it's a spectacular venue for college football. I know you've just added new video boards and going to try those out over the weekend, but I will tell you, I have been so impressed with everybody I've come in contact with at BYU. I had a wonderful conversation with Gloria Nevarez from the West Coast Conference yesterday, and as much as she's sorry to see BYU moving to the Big 12, she was very complimentary in terms of how the organization operates, what kind of values are embedded in the university and in the athletics program, and those things don't just happen. So I want to express my thanks to President Worthen and to Tom Holmoe for the collaboration and the confidence that they have shown. We are embarking upon this in a very different way than we did in 2016 when we were going through sort of an exploration process, not knowing exactly where it would end up. And we ended up not expanding. This was a much different process. I think it will yield a very fruitful outcome. It will be a very successful partnership, and indeed a marriage that's going to make Brigham Young University more competitive. It's going to make the Big 12 more competitive. And speaking purely on a personal level, I enjoy working with people that I trust and that I like and that I know share the values that I have for intercollegiate athletics. And in a very short period of time, I've come to know that that's what your university stands for. And so I just could not be any more excited today as we embark upon this new marriage. And as we look for synergies in every way at the university level, at the athletics level, at the conference level, to do things that make us all better. And hopefully we'll look back 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and say BYU has grown exponentially as a result of the relationship, and the Big 12 Conference is better than it ever was before as a result of BYU's inclusion. So thank you for that. I'll be happy to answer a few questions if we have some from the media after others have made their opening comments. Thank you.
Thank you, President Skuvanek and Commissioner Bowlesby, for that warm welcome. It was my privilege this morning to officially accept the invitation on behalf of Brigham Young University to join the Big 12, and we're grateful to them for facilitating this process. This is an historic day for BYU Athletics and for the university as a whole. Our mission statement indicates that BYU is to be a place where a commitment to excellence is expected and the full realization of human potential is pursued. We strive to provide that kind of opportunity in everything we do, including our core academic endeavor. But membership in the Big 12 gives us an opportunity to reinforce that commitment for our student athletes by allowing them to compete athletically and academically at the very highest level. We're grateful to the Big 12 for giving us that opportunity. I want to thank President Skuvanek and the Board of Directors, the presidents and chancellors of the other institutions of the Big 12 for having confidence in us. And I want to thank Commissioner Bowlesby. He indicated that this has been a different kind of process than in 2016, but it was in 2016 and as a result of conversations then and our interaction that we developed a level of mutual trust and understanding that allowed this to be a relatively quick but thorough process, and we're grateful for that. I also want to express my appreciation to the West Coast Conference and the member institutions there. 10 years ago, they took us in and have provided a wonderful home for us since that time for most of our sports. BYU is a better place academically, athletically, and spiritually because of our interaction with the members of the West Coast Conference, and we want to thank them for that and hope that even as we transition through this, our relationship will continue on in various ways from there. Finally, I want to thank all those at BYU who have made this possible, starting with the players and the coaches, past and present, who over decades have created the kind of program that is capable of competing at a national level, which we now have the opportunity to do. I also want to thank the administrators, both university and athletic administrators, including Brian Santiago and Liz Darger, Matt Richardson and Keith Vorking, for creating an environment in which athletics can thrive at BYU as an integral and fully integrated part of the university, carrying out its unique role at this unique university. But most of all, I want to express my deep appreciation for our athletic director, Tom Homo. None of this would have happened without Tom Homo. His integrity, his enthusiasm for BYU athletics and college athletics in general, his evident love for the student athletes, and his embodiment of the values of BYU have all created relationships throughout the country that we are benefiting from today. Moments like this happen because of people like Tom Homo, so thank you, Tom. We're excited for the future. We're excited for going forward with the Big 12. We're excited for a game tomorrow night, and I'll just leave that at Go Cougars.
Thank you, President. Congratulations, Cougar Nation. It's been a long time coming, and here we are. And I'd like to thank the Big 12 Conference for extending an invitation to BYU to join 11 other universities in a partnership that we pledge to give our very best to, our all. I feel extremely grateful for the West Coast Conference, who 10 years ago made it possible for us to partner with them in our Olympic sports, and it set us sail. It helped us set sail as an independent in football. 10 years ago, we charted a new course on our journey, a new way forward. And I feel during those years that BYU was able to learn and to grow and to change in the WCC and as an independent in football. We still have a long way to go, but that's where it all started. It wasn't all rough. Along the way, we enjoyed some incredible views, some great times. Many, many still lay ahead. We are thrilled to be joining the Big 12. But Cougar Nation, we didn't reach the destination today. The journey will still continue. Together, as the Big 12, all our schools will continue to push forward, doing the small and simple things that it takes that have brought all 12 of us to this point. I appreciate the blood, sweat, and tears of so many of the great Cougar Athletic alums and coaches who for many decades of loyal, strong, and true devotion have helped make this announcement today possible. This isn't just from a few years ago. This goes back decades. The Kreshimir Kosiches, the Elaine Michaelises, the Danny Ainges, the Lavelle Edwards, Dylan Duncans, Ty Detmers, Tina Guns, Glenn Tuckett's, and thousands more have made this possible. Not just the athletes and the coaches, but all of you, Cougar Nation. You know who you are. You know what you've done to bring us to this point today. Y'all have paved the way. Success is a journey, not a destination. Cougar Nation, it's time to continue. Go Cougs.
Thank you. Before we open up for questions, let me describe a little bit how this segment will operate. We have both media members tuning in via Zoom and media members who are here in person who will be able to ask questions. On Zoom, please use the raise hand feature and we will call on you when it's your turn to ask a question. For those media members present here in the room, we ask that you actually raise your hand if you have a question, and one of our athletics communications staff members will bring you a microphone. And please pass the microphone back immediately after asking your question. To all the media members, please state your name and news organization before your question. And also take note that we will not be able to facilitate individual interviews of today's participants following the news conference. And with that, we can open up to questions. We have a question here on the floor.
Jared Lloyd, Daily Herald. Tom, I want to ask you, you've been through this whole process from going independent, joining the West Coast Conference. What's this last couple of months been like for you personally, and now to get to this point and joining the Big 12 Conference?
Well, I don't really look at it as personal. I think I was a BYU student athlete from 78 to 82. I got the feel for what it was like at BYU back then. Along the way, I've been gone, I've coached at other places and played other places, and came back as a graduate assistant football coach. And then I've come back as an administrator. So it's in my blood, I feel it. I know what this means to everybody. This is not about me. The last months or so was about really trying to, like as Bob Bowlesby said, this 6 years ago, people thought it might have been a failure when we didn't get into the Big 12. But at that point in time, our coaches and our student athletes and administration determined this isn't going to be a failure. This is going to be a launching point. So if you say the last couple months, I'd say the last 6 years has been not a full court press, but it's just been a constant effort with all of us together to try to make it happen. We didn't know who, where, or when. And then I'd say in recent weeks, the stars aligned and it all came together. And I think it's just a tribute to all the effort from decades past that when the time came, we were ready.
Thank you. Our next question is going to come from our Zoom participants. Barry Trammell, if you'd unmute yourself, then you can ask your question.
Yes, I'd like Tom and Bob Bowlesby. Have you all been able to ascertain what kind of financial landscape is out there for the 12-team league and how that looks? How is it going to affect the legacy members of the Big 12, and also Tom, how this is going to enhance Brigham Young's athletic financial situation?
You want me to go ahead, Tom?
Sure.
We obviously the media environment is changing rapidly. The migration to streaming and to digital distribution is gaining speed, if anything. And at the same time, the deterioration of the cable bundle is evident and doesn't seem to be abating. So we're in a very much changing environment. But I will say this, and this was a driver for our exploration and our ultimate process, and that is we have attempted to add the very best, if you can put it in a recruiting environment, the very best athlete that we possibly could. That certainly is emblematic of BYU and the history and success that that university has had and that athletics program has had. And so in adding the 4 members that we have, we will gain as much as we can possibly gain on the football field. We will arguably be the best basketball conference in the country. We will be a force to be reckoned with in a wide variety of Olympic sports. And really, it's not a time when I could sit here and forecast it's going to be worth this much more or this much less. That isn't the nature of it. I think live sports is always going to be a valuable commodity. And if you have live sports with competition among the very best universities that you can put together in an alliance, you have a chance to go forward and do good things. And so that's what we expect from ourselves. That's what we will take into the early years of competition, and that's what we'll take into the marketplace when it's time in 24 to begin talking with our media partners and others that may have interest in the inventory. So we went into this trying to align ourselves with the very best universities and the very best athletics programs that we can. We don't have any control over the changing environment in which we operate, but we think we can do a lot to position ourselves. And the addition of Brigham Young University certainly is a huge building block in that process.
Yeah, Barry, I think that Bob answered that question how I would want him to. We've had conversations with the Big 12 between BYU on the finances, and we like the deal that goes from now until the time it runs out, and realize that the changing landscape in college athletics will probably be different in a couple of years, and certainly in the broadcast. But we're going into this confident that we can make this happen. I will say from a perspective of BYU, it might be a little bit different. A very good friend of mine and mentor taught me quite a while ago, the money, the financial part in athletics, it can't be the number one thing. I get it. Everyone gets it. We need that capital. We need the funds to survive. But if it's the number one thing, then you're going to lose track of your student athletes and your coaches and the things that really count the most. There'll be plenty of money in this conference, and we didn't have the money that a lot of the conferences had coming up to this point, and we realized that as a coaching staff and as players, we do the best and focus our attention on the things that matter most. And then somehow you just are able to make money if those things happen. So that's where I'll keep our focus.
Thank you. Our next question will come from the floor.
Yeah, Patrick Kinahan, Zone Sports Network. Tom, as you know, you spent much of your time in recent years finding opponents every single year for BYU to play. Now, going forward, how are you going to basically get some of those teams off the schedule so you can allow for, I don't know whether it's 8 or 9 conference games that the Big 12 is going to decide to play?
Well, probably starting today, we'll start to work on that. We'll have to unwind some of those contracts. It's important that everybody understands that with each contract that we did from the time we became an independent, there was a clause in it that was said that in the event that we leave to join a P5 conference, that there would be some type of a deal to work it out. And most schools in this day and age are looking for that protection to play the game. So it's protection for us and protection for them. A lot of these are going to unwind pretty easily because they're far enough out. And the ones that are short term, obviously next year we'll be able to play our entire schedule. And the year after that, we'll be able to play, we'll have, it starts getting a little bit more even. So for the next couple of years, if you look at things that are happening with the SEC and the American and a number of different conferences, you're going to see more games become available. Prior to this last movement, there were not very many games out there. You couldn't get a game if you didn't have it locked in the next, say, 2 or 3 years. And that's why people are putting, we were doing games that would go out into 2030s and such. Those games, I think, will be able to unwind. People will want to get out of some, will want to get out of some, but we're going to want to keep some of these games that we've contracted. It'll be a conversation between me and Kalani to determine whether or not we want to keep some of those games as non-conference games. Certainly some of them we will, and others will naturally go away.
Thank you. Our next question will come from our Zoom audience. Max Olson, if you'd unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, hi. So I suppose this question is for Bob Bowlesby and Lawrence Skuvenek. Over the past few weeks here, how were you able to build consensus about this plan of not just how many members to add, but then which members to target? And how would you just describe that process here over these past few weeks?
Go
Bob,
ahead,
do you want
Lawrence.
Okay.
You pitch
As
and
Bob
I'll give it.
Bob said earlier that in this process, we were looking for the best universities with the best athletic programs. And with those criteria, you quickly focus on certain institutions. And so it was a very easy decision to come to the point where we are today. BYU also fits in ways that complement our athletic strengths as well as our athletic programs. So this was a very clear and relatively easy decision for the 8 continuing members of the Big 12.
Yeah, I completely agree with Lawrence's assessment on this. And I would just simply add, I have felt very well supported to go out and have conversations with institutions that had reached out and contacted us. I felt like the board was well positioned and well aligned to empower me to go and have conversations with President Worthen and with Tom and the others. And it's you can sometimes have situations where a board wants to be involved in every little decision that is made or every question that needs to be asked. And I felt like I was given broad latitude to go out and have the conversations and report back. And to be clear, we didn't contact anyone. We were contacted by these institutions, but we did have subsequent conversations and needed to get into some of the detailed discussions. And I felt like I had every bit of latitude that I needed to do that, that I was expected to, and I did report back on a regular basis. But it was a good process. I have felt very good about the Big 12 board over time. I think President Worthen and the other CEOs will enjoy working with President Skuvenek and the other members of our board. It's a good situation for me as the commissioner, but sometimes you don't know that until such time as you really get into a stressful circumstance, and you need to go out and really perform under difficult circumstances. And to have an unsupported board or a fractured board would have made this process very much more difficult. That was exactly the opposite of what we had. We had a very supportive and very much aligned board. And in the end, it really wasn't a difficult decision to decide which four we wanted to move ahead on.
Our next question will come from the floor.
Jeff Call, Deseret News. Tom, what impact will this move to the Big 12 have on men's basketball and all the other sports that BYU competes in?
Join with all our teams, and so all of our teams are play sports that the Big 12 carries, except for men's volleyball. Men's volleyball is a member of the MPSF, Mountain Pacific Sports Federation, and has been for a long time. Same thing was true in the Mountain West Conference and the West Coast Conference. So that won't change for Sean and his group. But the rest of our teams will be able to move into total play with the Big 12 beginning in 2 years.
Okay, next, other question from the floor?
Yeah, Mitch Harper with KSL Sports. This question's for Commissioner Bowlesby. Commissioner, was no Sunday play, BYU's no Sunday play, a concern at all for the member institutions in your league?
I wouldn't call it a concern. I'd call it a consideration. We had very open and frank discussions about it. Everybody has their eyes wide open. We understand that there are scheduling considerations that are going to have to be taken into account. And, like all of our members, some are in remote locations, some have more difficult transportation issues than others. Some are a longer ways away. Those are all things that you think about as you consider institutions and even as you work together within your league. But that is something that is baked in when you consider a university like BYU. And so we'll do what's necessary to respect and honor those requirements. And we got to the point where we didn't feel like it was going to be an issue. We're not likely to be playing football games on Sunday. We don't. We have events right now that are contested on Sunday, and they will have to be modified in order to accommodate BYU. But that we're willing to do that, and frankly, BYU is an attractive enough institution that I consider that a very small consolation in having them be a part of our organization.
Another question from the floor.
Darnell Dixon, the Daily Herald. Tom, a move like this involves a certain amount of risk. How would you compare this move, moving to the Big 12, with going independent 10 years ago?
I think they were for various different reasons. When we went independent, we felt that it was really important to give access to our fans, the Cougar Nation across the country. We were kind of stuck in a situation where the broadcast rights weren't very well. And then opportunities for our student athletes to compete as the best they could. And so when we feel that in that period of time, we made a lot of progress. And so this is kind of just that time has led in independence has led up to this point right now where it's a different kind of a journey. We don't know exactly how it's going to go. We have faith in talking with Bob Bowlesby and the Big 12 people that this is the plan going forward. I think that every conference in the country is having the same decisions. Before even this happened for the last couple years, the West Coast Conference is very much involved in what that conference is going to look like, what the technology is going to look like, what new things and governance in the NCAA is going to look like. If you're not having those discussions, you're behind the 8 ball. And at BYU, President Worthen, Keith Vorkink and I, as well as my staff, we're having these conversations. We've been having these conversations for 10 years. From the time we went independent, we said we don't plan on being independent forever. We don't really know exactly where it's going to go, but we kind of carved our path as we responded to the environment around us and as we took opportunities ourselves. So I think at this point in time, we feel that we're in a good spot, a really good spot for our student athletes, our coaches, and our teams. Cougar Nation will get what they want, and we can chart a path with things that we don't really even know about right now. It's exciting for me to have a fan base, a donor base, a sponsor base, like an intellectual alum base, that we're all together now. We have resources that we didn't have 10 years ago, not financial. We have resources that we didn't have 6 years ago when this didn't work. And now, instead of just like kind of getting pushed around a little bit, we're going to join a conference for a reason, to be great partners and to be able to make things happen. We feel it can happen. All the things we need to happen are going to happen in this conference. But we also have a course that we're going to chart independent. There's so many exciting things on the forefront. You look at NIL and the things that have happened in the last little while. The things that can happen with technology and the people that we have strengthening us, there's no end to what we can think about.
Okay, we're going to go to Adam Rittenberg on our Zoom call, but just before we turn it over to him and he unmutes himself and asks a question, we'll have a couple of more questions that we can have for Chair Skuvenik and Commissioner Bowlesby, and then we're going to release them for another obligation. And now, Adam, go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Yes, thanks. This is for Commissioner Bowlesby. Bob, how do these additions help the Big 12 going forward with a potential expanded playoff, especially given the speed of those discussions and the speed that you guys acted here in terms of getting this done as quickly as you did?
Well, I think the outcome of the expansion of the playoff is still in flux at this point in time. I think it's a relative certainty that we will expand the playoff at some point in time, whether it'll be a 12-team playoff or whether it'll be an 8-team playoff or whether it'll come in year 11 or whether it'll come in year 13. I think those things are yet to be determined by the Board of Managers. But notwithstanding that, we've had BYU is a good example. They've finished repeatedly in the top 25. Cincinnati finished in the top 10 last year. UCF was the only undefeated team in college football a few years ago. The University of Houston has played at very high levels through the years. And so we feel like, pursuant to the earlier question, adding quality is always a good thing. And I think that these are very high quality football programs that are additive to the Big 12 and that have the capability, especially with an array of stronger opponents within the conference. I think we have an opportunity to demonstrate how we can play at the national level. I think the other thing is with a whatever format the playoff turns into, there's going to be additional access, and I think that's what's really important. It for me, it's not about the money derived from the playoff. It's about being able to have more young people participate. And I think it's about making the regular season just as good as it can be. I think if, for instance, we get to 12, with 6 weeks to go in the season, there's going to be 35 schools that have a legitimate claim to a possibility of being into the playoff. Even with 3 weeks to go, instead of who's in and only having 5 schools that have any chance, there's going to be a dozen or a dozen and a half that have a legitimate claim to getting into the playoff. That's going to be good for in-stadium attendance. It's going to be good for television viewing. I think it'll be good for in a lot of ways. So I just think it's more than just how many teams you have in and how you seed them and how you select them. It really goes to the complete ecosystem of college football. And I just think that a larger playoff with more opportunity for access is a good thing for the regular season in football in every way that you could name. So I wouldn't presume to forecast how it's going to turn out. But I do think it's inevitable that it will get larger at some point in time. And as it does, it will have a positive impact on the regular season. So that's good in every way for the Big 12.
We're going to take one more question from our Zoom audience. Blair Kirchhoff, you unmute and ask your question.
Hi, this is for Bob. Bob, I know that basketball is not at the forefront of realignment talk, but I'm wondering what you can tell the new members, what you have told them about the Big 12 basketball tournament, and just as a sort of the housekeeping task, is it still make sure that the tournaments are still good to go in Kansas City through 2025?
Yeah, we have a commitment to be in Kansas City through 2025. Kansas City runs an absolutely outstanding tournament. I think it is the best college basketball postseason tournament in the United States. Our league has been 1 or 2 in the RPI every year for the last 10, and most of the time we've been first in the RPI. You start to bring in, a BYU that is a traditional finisher in the top 25. You look at Cincinnati, that's I think they're in the top 15 winningest programs in the history of college basketball. You look at Houston, they were a Final Four team this year, and UCF is coached by my dear friend and colleague Johnny Dawkins, who came through the Duke program, obviously, and has done great things down there. So I think a very good basketball league will get even better, and we expect to be in Kansas City to contest the men's and women's tournaments. I think it's the T-Mobile Center is a great showcase. We've had the situation, unfortunately, of COVID disruptions the last couple of years, but we expect to be back there with full house and with great competition. And I just think it's going to be no fun to play in the Big 12 conference. It's gotten even tougher than it was before.
Thank you, Chair Skuvenik, Commissioner Bowlesby.